This video was brought to you by Brilliant. Go to brilliant.org/polyphonic to try it out now. Following that link will get you 20% off an annual plan and help you learn more about a whole host of STEM topics. More on that after the video. Queen are a band with a career full of iconic imagery. This is often driven by Freddie Mercury's flamboyant fashion sense. He's been seen wearing crowns and capes, an iconic yellow jacket, and no shortage of glamorous jumpsuits. But one of the most beloved images of Queen's career features no bright colors or wild outfits at all. Instead, the band are seen on a black backdrop, with their faces lit in sharp contrast, taking on a dramatic, uncanny tilt. This image was famously used in the music video for Bohemian Rhapsody, but it doesn't actually originate there. That image made its debut a year before Bohemian Rhapsody, as the cover of Queen's sophomore release, a criminally underrated album called Queen 2. Let's take a closer look. When Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon went into the studio to cut Queen 2, they were not yet rock stars. In fact, they weren't even really certain this whole music thing was going to work out for them. Their debut album had received mixed reviews, and the lead single, Keep Yourself Alive, had flopped entirely. The band's two primary songwriters were also starting to realize that they might have some creative differences. Brian May wanted to write more straightforward rock songs, grounded in human experiences. Meanwhile, Freddie Mercury had a taste for the fantastical. He wanted to write experimental songs about mythical creatures and far-off lands. Rather than clash over these differences and break up as another band might have, Queen thought of a unique sort of compromise. They decided they'd divide their second album into two sides, each thematically linked. The first side was dubbed The White Side after May's cerebral love song, The White Queen, as it began. That song is a magnificent slow burn, beginning on ethereal harmonies and spacey guitars before building to a climactic bit of guitar orchestration. Queen 2 is defined by its ambitious use of guitar effects. The band were so proud of these effects that the liner notes even made sure to state that no synthesizers were used in the album, lest people confuse May's guitar experiments for synthesizers. May's guitar roars on Father to Son, and he grooves with a perfect glam swagger on The Loser in the End, the only song on the album written and sung by Roger Taylor.
Mama's got a problem. She don't know what to say. The little baby boy is just left home today.
The White Side of Queen 2 is a fantastic rock album, and it showed the potential that Queen had to become stadium rock gods. But it's the black side of the album that truly sets it apart. That side opens with Ogre Battle, a rip-roaring heavy metal song with a dense mix highlighted by brilliant harmonies and elaborate production effects. Taylor and May's unceasing noise captures the chaos of Mercury's epic lyrics, depicting a battle between two ogres.
Now once upon a time an old man told me a fable. When the piper is gone and the soup is cold in the table, and when the black crow flies.
From there, this side just goes relentlessly. The Fairy Feller's masterstroke is a wild piece inspired by Richard Dadd's painting of the same name.
Soldier sailor, take a tail of blind boy, waiting to hear the sound. And the archmagician presides, he is the leader.
Freddie Mercury feels so at home seeing these scenes pulling from Tolkien, Shakespeare, and his own unique mind. The crowning achievement of the second side might be its titular track, The March of the Black Queen. March of the Black Queen is almost a proto-Bohemian Rhapsody. It moves through several musical movements, highlighted by twinkling piano and an astounding array of vocal arrangements.
Remember to deliver with the speed of light. A little bit of
It's a perfect collision of all the influences that made Queen what they are. You can hear the hard rock of Zeppelin and The Who, but also the dramatic operatics of musical theater. The lyrics channeled a sort of fantastical imagery that was all over prog in those days, and Brian May's guitar is metal as hell. Images of magic battles and mythical creatures are likely pulled from a fantastical world that Mercury had been dreaming up since he was a child. That world is known as Rye. It appears in a handful of songs throughout Queen's career, but it's most explicitly described in the last song on Queen 2, The Seven Seas of Rye. That song would become the first and only single from Queen 2. It had a slow chart run, but eventually climbed its way to number 10 on the British charts, proving that Queen's unique take on glam and prog did have some commercial viability. The concept of the white and black sides held Queen 2 together. It let the band express their own unique voice and realize their conceptual ambitions. When it came time to package the album, the band wanted something just as grandiose and ambitious, so they hired the legendary photographer Mick Rock. Rock was responsible for some of the most iconic images of the glam movement, and had been particularly celebrated for his work with David Bowie. He was inspired by an image of the actress Marlene Dietrich in 1932's Shanghai Express. His image made Queen look like the grandiose legends that they would become, even though they were still a young band finding their voice at the time. The album's inner gatefold was adorned with another rock photo, this time with the band in white to reflect the album's thematic conceit. On release, Queen 2 received another set of mixed reviews, but that didn't matter. Queen had begun to find their sound. They went back into the studio just 4 months after recording Queen 2 and cut Sheer Heart Attack, a more pop-oriented album that raised them into the spotlight. A year later, they would release A Night at the Opera, and the rest is history. But while A Night at the Opera often gets celebrated as Queen's greatest album, my personal favorite will always be Queen 2. It's a unique album that shows Queen at their heaviest and most experimental, and it's an album that should be celebrated as one of the greatest of the era. Did you know that in addition to being a world-class guitarist, Brian May is a literal rocket scientist? That's right, he's got a PhD in astrophysics and has even collaborated with NASA. If that's the sort of multidisciplinary excellence that you aspire to, a great place to start is Brilliant. Brilliant is a fun and interactive learning platform with thousands of lessons on all sorts of STEM topics. With lessons across every skill level, Brilliant lets you customize your own learning plan and learn at your pace. If you want to check it out, a great place to start is their course on how technology works, which can teach you the inner workings of the technology you're using to watch this very video. Brilliant's lessons are beautifully designed, interactive, and can be done in short sessions. If you want to give it a shot, you can try it out today at no cost to yourself. The first 200 people to go to brilliant.org/polyphonic will get a 30-day free trial of Brilliant, as well as 20% off an annual premium subscription. Following that link is a great way to support my channel, and it's also a great way to advance your own learning goals and better yourself as a person. So go check it out. And hey, thanks for watching.